Okay, so what I thought I'd do next is we need to maybe create some ephemera for our journals. And I happened to notice that I use paper napkins for my mixed media. And I have a whole bunch of, I have way more than this. I have a whole bucket full of napkins, but these are pieces that I didn't use for whatever project. And I noticed that they seem to be the same colors as our cover, and anything that's gold or orange, those warm colors, I think will match. And so what I was thinking was, let me move this, was maybe we could just, sometimes you can just embellish pages a little bit with something down in the corner. Let's see if I'm on screen here, with something in the corner, or sometimes I like to just stamp a design on pages, on blank pages, just so that they don't look so stark. But what I was thinking was using this napkin and maybe just putting it on an empty page. So I kind of like this page, but you see how we have a straight edge here? So I'm thinking that if we turn it over, I could put the straight edge right there, and we could kind of trim this out, excuse me, and just put that on, and it just would add to this page. Maybe put a word or something. So I noticed too that I've got a couple of other pieces that are similar to that, like here. So we should have enough to do the opposite page and the opposite signature. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna put these aside, concentrate on these two pieces here. This looks like, almost looks like when I had used it, maybe I cut up here. So, and I don't want that. So what you can do with napkins, I'm gonna move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. You can take, I think I have some water here. You can take a very soft paintbrush, and if you, actually I could access the water this way. You can outline areas, and then it rips really easy. So if I wanted to rip this, I would just outline these areas with water, and I should be able to rip all that extra off. So let's see if that works. Oh yeah, see? You can, because it's wet, it tears right away from the dry area. So knowing that that's working for us, I'm going to look for design here where it doesn't look like it's cut off. So like this flower is cut off. So what if we come right up around this flower and this flower here, maybe take that whole piece off right there. So let's see if we can just tear that off right there, right there. I think that'll work. So if we take this one and we put it right on there, oh, I think that'll really be pretty. So I'm gonna do the same thing with this one, only this one has a whole design. So maybe I'll go ahead and use the whole design. Let's I don't necessarily want the napkin design name, so we'll take that off. Let's see if we can get some of this off. Even when you do this and you attach them to pages, I mean, you want it a rough cut anyways. So I think that'll be good. Let's just see if we can take a little of this top off. And this really doesn't matter because once you put the medium down on the paper, the white part of the napkin will just turn clear. So I think that's good. So let's start with that. We can see if these will work. Let me get my stuff picked up here. I think I mentioned in video 1 that I am kind of OCD about most things, but when it comes to these journals, I am so not. Okay, so what we're going to use is what we call gel medium. Not gel medium, excuse me, matte medium. And you can actually make this out of white glue and water. I happen to have Liquitex here that I had purchased before I learned how to make it, so I'm going to go ahead and use it up. And you just apply it with a paintbrush. And so what I'm going to do is take this page out, and how I try to mark my spot is if I leave my journal like this and put this down, then I know that that's where this page has to go back to. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. We know that we want it on this side here. So I'm just going to put a little matte medium on there, and I usually use a very soft brush or a foam brush. And I want to spread it out far enough to be able to cover the whole design. So I know that I have to be that high. So I think we should be good, and I should be able to put it right on there. Now what happens is when it gets wet, the napkin is very thin, so you have to be extremely careful that you don't rip it when you apply. It's kind of like doing a Mod Podge, and you can use Mod Podge for this as well. And then what I do is just put a little on my brush and dab the napkin here on the edges. With a foam brush, you can actually just, it's like a sponge, so I can do that before there we go. And you want to put your matte medium all over the whole piece because that's going to seal it to the paper. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this aside, and we will put that aside, and then we will find the same page in this journal and create the same. Here we go. We're going to put it on the same side. I mean, we could do it here, but I'm afraid that it might, well, actually I kind of like that, but let's keep them the same. I know that in one of the videos that I did, I had my light was shining down and I had a real reflection, so I'm hoping this doesn't look like it's reflecting, but it's hard to tell when you're taping. So I hope it's not. So you'll see they are a little bit different, but they look really good. Now we need to wait for these to dry. And then I think that we need to put some sort of an inspirational word or verse right here. So give me a second to go look for one of those. Okay, these are dried, fairly dry enough. And in looking for some words, I thought, well, I could stamp on paper or something, but what I did is I found some words out of some books. This one says, what we believe does matter. And I thought, if I keep both having to do with what you believe and how you act on what you believe, then it kind of ties them together. So this one says, what we believe does matter. And it says, ideas are the foundation of action. And I kind of thought that that would be an inspiration to maybe for someone to journal about that and how they feel about that. And this one is very much the same. It says, a person is, I don't know if you can see that, a person is not likely to take any strenuous action unless he believes something. So I had to kind of cut these out in pieces. So we'll glue them on in pieces, but I thought they tie together, and I thought they were very interesting and would be something interesting to journal about. So what I want to do is I do want to distress these a little. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll do it on, before I glue them on, let's distress these just a little bit so they're not so stark white. And I'm just using vintage photo ink. Oh, I like that. These words came out of an old philosophy book that I had. Oh, nice. Okay. I'm going to run these right across the glue stick, I hope. And hopefully that will help them stick. So this one says, a person is not likely to take any strenuous action I may have to put some medium over those to hold them. Let's see, unless he believes something. Maybe I'm just not pressing down hard enough to get enough glue on there. But I don't want to glue it to my glue page here. Okay, unless he believes. Oh, that's sticking down better. Maybe that was the key. It's just the word thing, so it's so small I couldn't find it. Okay. let's just put this right here. It's such a tiny piece. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll do this one, and this is what we believe does matter. Make sure I push harder on this one. I think we can salvage it. What do you think? What we believe does matter. I'm going to put this part down first. Okay. And then I'm going to put this back on here and make sure that I have enough glue on it. I got to try to line that up. Okay. Oh, I think it works. Okay, ideas are the foundation of action. And they are really, if you think about it. And you don't really move forward with anything new unless you have the idea. That it would be worthwhile to do. Okay, I'm going to just for my, I just want to put a little medium over those to seal them in. Especially that one that I ripped in half, so I'm gonna just put a little medium on them. Get some off here, I put a lot on there. And what this matte medium does is it does just seal it. So if I didn't get a lot of glue on places, it will seal it from the top down. Again, Mod Podge will work fine. Okay, I'm gonna set these pages aside to dry, and I've got some ideas. So I'm going to set these over here. And this is how the book was, because that page goes, pages that we just did goes in here. But it made me think that this center page right here is very stark, and it would make for a great journaling page. So what I'm gonna do is move it like this so I have this just open, and I'll do the same with this one over here when we're done. But I had an idea that we could stencil on this page. So I got some inks out. I've never used this this one here. So I thought we would look at it and see what color it seems to be. I want to do it on some sort of a scrap, some sort of scrap paper, so I can see. Well, you know what? I've got my, oh, I like it. Okay, so see what color that is? Oh, that's nice. Okay, so we're gonna go with antique linen. I like it. And I thought, look at these. This is Tim Holtz. It's a stencil, and I thought I would give it a try in a couple places, very lightly on here. I could mess it up. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. So I just want to get a couple of the roses. We can do very lightly in certain places, like the, ooh, very pretty. Okay, so I'll just go around and do them in a couple of spots so that we have some breaking up all the white background here. Wow, I really like this color. I can't believe I haven't used it before now, but I really like it. Oh, there. Let's get one right down here. Nice. I like it. And the thing with pages like this is they're still light enough where you can journal on them. So, oh, I like it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other ones. So let's pull the other book over, or the other signature. Now what I'm thinking is, I don't know that I want to do the same design. So I pulled this stencil, and I thought maybe we could try that, and it would just be something a little different. So let's try it. I'm going to go off the page a little here. And I'm going way as light as I can, sort of, and still make mark there. Oh, that's very pretty. Okay, let's do one down here. Oh, nice. And if we do one here, let me see. I think I just won't go into this flower, but we'll go around this way. And try to stay away from that edge of there. Nice. And that way we can do like one down here in this corner and then catch a little piece there. And we'll kind of fill this up a little bit. And I'll just put a little corner right here, maybe line it up like this. Okay, so we got those pages done. I like that. And they are a little bit different, keeping the color the same, but and the idea, but just a little bit different. Okay, let's see if these are close to dry. Not quite. Okay, I've been thinking about this and I have an idea. I think that one of the things that I love about junk journals is that they are for journaling. So I think what I'm gonna do here is actually just make a fold out sheet. So we've got the color, but then we'll have a lot of space for journaling. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and just trim the edges off this paper. And as you know, my cutter is not good unless you use a couple sheets or a piece of cardstock in there. So I'm gonna just cut it by hand. And then I'll show you how we can make a hinge and then keep this as really good journaling space. So I'm probably gonna have to, let's hinge. I want it to be the same size as this. And so, I wrote that down somewhere. Where the heck did I write it down? Okay. Actually, I think where I wrote it, I used that paper. So let's measure again. So we are 7 7/8. And I'm going to make it maybe 3 1/2. 7 7/8 by 3 1/2. So to make your hinge, we're just going to take a piece of paper and fold it. So we just need a piece of scrap paper that's let's see what size this is. See how long it is. Okay, so we can cut this down to 7 7/8 and then just use this for our hinge. I can cut it in half. So if I do 7 7/8, where's my leg? There we go. And then we need 2 of these, so go ahead, and they're 2 3/4. So if we make them 1 1/4, yeah. So 1 1/4 would be about there. And another 1 1/4 would be about 1 1/4 be about there. Then all we want to do is score them. And the only reason I do that is it's easier to fold, but you don't have to score it. No harm done if you don't, but for me, I'm just gonna so I need it right there. And if I didn't cut these exactly the same size, then the score will be a little off, but you know what, it doesn't even matter. Right. I happen to pick up a piece of index to use, which you could just use paper, but I happen to pick up index, so basically all we're going to do to hinge these is we'll put our hinge right here, okay, and then our paper will hinge right onto that. We did that on a different page earlier, and so we'll do this one as well to give us more journaling space. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this to here first. And then when I fold it down, if you can see, there's kind of a little rough edge, so I'm going to just trim that a little bit. Doesn't matter, but I'm going to trim it. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and hook it like this. And then there's just extra journaling space there. I like it. And then once we get the book in, if we decide we want to decorate this page, add some ephemera, we can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hinge the second one. Okay, and that's going to go right on here. So remember, we're going to hinge our paper first. I'm going to go ahead and we'll hinge our paper first. Okay, I'm not even gonna tell you how OCD I am, but I'm already thinking I want to make sure that I put this one on the same way. So this has the ribbons, the flowers going up, the ribbons going to the right. So when I put this in, I want the flowers going up and the ribbons going to the right. So I want it this way. I know. Don't even get me started with how particular I am. Okay. Make sure that's lined up, and I want to fold it to make sure that it's not hanging over too much. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, so then when it goes like this, then the flowers are going to the left and up, and the ribbons are going to the right. I like it. Okay, we'll go ahead and put this one on. Oh, pretty. And I like that it ties this orange or rusty color in with this page as well. And lots of journaling space because you can actually write here and then write all over here. So I love it. So let's see what our next project is going to be in these. So let's get started on the next piece of ephemera. I saw Gail Agostinelli make one of these, and I think she saw it from somebody else. I can't remember who she credited this for, but I thought it was the cutest thing, and I thought, remember that we did this on the back of this sheet, and I thought if we did this, it's pockets. Let me get something that you can stick in here. It's separate pockets, and it's all made out of one sheet of paper. So what I did is folded, I sewed some lace on here. I used this paper, leftover paper that we had, just to tie it into the whole journal. And then I went ahead and zigzag stitched around and left. I didn't go up the side. In case we wanted to put something larger in here, I didn't want to be limited by this sewing. So I just sewed here and here. So we're gonna go ahead and make this for our other signature. And you can use any paper you like. This was a paper I designed with text on it or whatever, and I just wanted to use it up. So I had another sheet right here, and I printed on both sides. So I'm gonna move this aside and show you how we did this. So what I found, well, let me bring this back real quick. What I found was, in order to get all the edges distressed, it's way easier to distress the outside, front and back before you even get started. Otherwise, you're trying to figure out what you need to distress or whatever. So I just went ahead and distressed all my edges first. You can put as much distressing on there as you want. I think that the kit that we're using for this book is pretty antique-y, and it's got a lot of yellow, gold, and browns. So I'm tending to distress a little bit more than maybe I normally would. Okay, when you get this side done, go ahead and do the other side as well. And you'll see, because with all the folding, you're just not really sure which edges are going to show when you first start. Once you make a few of them, you know exactly which ones are going to show, but even still, I still do it this way. When you get done, you just then, all you'll have to do is distress the folded edge. Okay, so once you have that distress, I'm going to kind of put this over here so I think we can see it over here. So we want to fold this in half first. It's hard to line everything up when it's just a little bit further away. As I get older, my eyesight gets worse and worse. Okay. And then you have a couple of options, whether you want to just fold it part way up or if you want to fold it all the way up. And in this case, I folded it all the way up, so I want to repeat the same for this one. Okay. And then basically, all you're doing is turning down your pages. So how easy is that? So what we're going to do is, if you notice that we folded this in half, so if you distress as you fold, it makes it so much easier. So then we're going to fold this down all the way down to the edge here. And you notice, because we distressed already, that these are already done. So then we just need to distress this edge here. How easy is that? And this one, you have to kind of decide. I tend to do them on top, and I don't tuck them in yet. See how they're tucked in? Until I get them folded to the way I want. So I'm going to fold that one to there, and you can decide how much of an edge you want on yours. And then I'm going to try to fold about the same distance, here to here, here to here, but it's really just by eye. Okay. So, oh, we forgot to distress this side here. Okay. Now we can distress this one right here. Okay. And then you can leave that one flat if you want, but I go ahead and fold it because I use it as another pocket. Like that. And then we'll distress this. Okay. Then all we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get my glue stick out. Remember, it's paper to paper, so we can just use the glue stick. I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down first. So I'm just going to tuck that in. Oh, I don't want that glue on there because when I go to put the other one down, it'll stick. Let me see if I can just wipe that glue off there. A little bit. Okay. See it coming together? Now you have two options here as well. If you want, you can leave this open. When we sew it, it will be a tuck area if you'd like to do that. I went ahead and glued it down because I wanted to put a little decoration down here. Again, you could still put a decoration here. I glued this down, but if you just had a piece, you could have a tuck pocket. There's so many different things you can do with it. But for this, I'm going to show you exactly how I made this one. Okay, so there's the basic. Okay, so now this is right where I cut that piece of paper right there. So I'm going to go ahead. What I like is the flowers. So I'm going to cut a little into here. I'm going to cut this piece right here. I just like those flowers sticking out. And then I'll just see how long. So that's just about right. And I put that down here. Let me see, I did use this lace here. Okay, so I put this lace right over that edge so you can't see the folded edge, and I just tucked that up under. So you just want to see. Okay, so we can just, again, paper on paper, we use our glue stick. I'm gonna do it up here so I don't have sticky down here where I'm working. just a hair. Oh, that'll be perfect. Okay, but with the lace, we need to use Fabri-Tac. So, our Fabri-Tac out. There we go. And remember to put your Fabri-Tac on its side. Okay, I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and I'll be right back. All right, so now I've sewn this one across. And we just need these to dry and then we can stick them in our signatures. So give that just a second while I pull the signatures over and we can get them in. Okay, for putting them in the signatures, I'm going to use glitter glue because it holds so good. And I'm just going to go across the bottom. And then up this one edge. Now you could glue the whole thing down, but again, if we don't, we have a tuck spot in the back as well. So we can tuck back here as well. So I'm actually going to move this a little off center some. Give us maybe a 1/4 of an inch margin from the edge here in the bottom. I'm going to hold that for a second. Glitter glue really sticks real well and it dries pretty fast. But you still want to hold it just to make sure it's all down. Okay. Let's do the next one. I love that. If you opt, you can cut your strings. I like the strings on, so I don't. Now, oftentimes, instead of making the same ephemera for each different signature and using the same paper, I'll make the same ephemera, but I'll use a different paper so it does look entirely different. But in this case, I just kind of wanted to keep everything kind of uniform. I like it. And remember that these are opposite signatures. There's a signature in between them, so it's not going to repeat real fast. Once we get these sewn in, we'll go ahead and make different cards and ephemera and fill up these little pocket things. So we gotta hold that down. Make sure my other one's sticking down. Oh yeah, that one's stuck. This is what happens. I get talking and then I'm not holding it down. Okay, I think that's good. Just want to make sure that it's stuck good.